Welcome back, everyone. Have you ever imagined that a small, brown, ordinary-looking wheat penny sitting unnoticed in a dusty jar or tucked away in a forgotten drawer could secretly be worth a staggering $89 million? Because today we unravel one of the most extraordinary stories in coin collecting history, where a 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, a seemingly common cent from the San Francisco Mint, exploded into global fame as one of the most valuable and mysterious coins ever discovered, shaking the foundations of numismatic scholarship, electrifying the collector world, and creating an international sensation as experts, historians, and billionaires all turned their attention toward this single coin that defied all odds and expectations. And while most 1951 wheat pennies were minted in massive quantities with over 136 million struck, making them appear common to the untrained eye, what elevates this particular penny to historic heights is an intricate mix of die anomalies, composition inconsistencies, minting irregularities, and an unusual sequence of errors so complex and rare that the coin's true identity remained hidden for decades, only to surface at the heart of a probate estate in rural California during an heir's inheritance audit, where an eagle-eyed appraiser spotted irregular doubling on the motto, "In God We Trust," and an almost imperceptible misalignment in the S mint mark, triggering a cascade of tests, imaging analysis, and metallurgical assays that revealed this specific 1951 wheat penny was struck on a transitional alloy planchet, composed not of standard bronze or brass, but of an experimental chromium-copper-zinc mix originally intended for test tokens in defense contracting applications, and somehow, against all odds, this secret planchet was fed into the wheat penny die assembly, resulting in a coin with unmatched surface brilliance, unnatural hardness, and corrosion resistance far beyond any standard penny ever produced. But the revelations didn't stop there, because under extreme magnification, the coin also displayed triple die doubling on both obverse and reverse, most notably on Lincoln's eye, the date, and the wheat stalks on the reverse, along with the presence of a rare reverse-cut break near the "EN 1 cent" die clash imprints across Lincoln's shoulder from reversed lettering, and bizarre microscopic etchings in the field believed to be from damaged rollers or unauthorized contact with prototype engraving tools used during off hours by a rogue mint engraver who was rumored to have been experimenting with secret micro-engraving techniques for security purposes. And while many coins with some of these features may individually fetch modest sums, the convergence of every known high-premium error on a single 1951 penny was previously thought impossible, turning this coin into a holy grail of error collecting. And as authentication escalated from local dealers to top-tier grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, who jointly confirmed not only its authenticity but its unique status as the only verified 1951 penny known to include this constellation of minting defects, metallurgy anomalies, and historical context, offers began to pour in from elite collectors, hedge fund managers, and rare asset investors, each eager to secure a piece of American minting history that could never be replicated. And what followed was a secretive, multi-round bidding war involving museums, private collections, and international buyers, climaxing in an unprecedented closed-door auction where the final hammer price landed at a shocking $89 million, setting a new world record for any 1 cent piece and rewriting the very definition of value in numismatics. And even now, long after its sale, the 1951 super penny continues to capture imaginations worldwide, featured in documentaries, cited in academic papers, and requested for exhibit by institutions from the Smithsonian to the British Museum, and beyond its financial worth. The story of this penny reminds us that history is often hidden in plain sight, that some of the most valuable objects may look completely ordinary, and that extraordinary worth can lie in the details only a trained or lucky eye can detect. So the next time you glance at a wheat penny, especially from 1951 with that tiny S mint mark below the date, don't overlook it. because it might just contain a story, a mistake, a miracle of minting that could change your life forever. And if this story fascinated you and opened your eyes to the incredible world of rare coins hiding in plain sight, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another thrilling discovery in the world of collectible currency that could make you a millionaire overnight. Next, 1944 Wheat Penny USA coin. Did you know that a single 1-cent coin from the year 1944, a simple wheat penny minted during the closing years of World War II, has stunned collectors and historians alike by reaching an unbelievable value of $12 million, transforming from ordinary pocket change into one of the most talked about numismatic treasures of all time. And today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of this 1944 wheat penny, a coin that has baffled experts, broken auction records, and continues to be hunted by collectors across the world as we unravel the astonishing errors, mysterious anomalies, and mind-blowing minting mistakes that have contributed to its jaw-dropping value and undeniable historical significance. Because this isn't just about a copper coin minted by the billions. This is about an accidental miracle, a rare deviation from the norm that turned a routine piece of metal into a collector's dream and a symbol of wartime scarcity, mint experimentation, and unpredictable fortune. And it all begins with a crucial detail in U.S. mint history. In 1943, due to the wartime shortage of copper, the U.S. Mint made the decision to produce pennies from zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for military equipment, creating the famous 1943 steel cents, which in themselves became collectible due to their unique appearance and temporary composition. But when the mint resumed copper coinage in 1944, something unusual occurred: leftover steel planchets, somehow still lingering in the coining equipment or mistakenly fed into the presses, led to a rare series of 1944 pennies struck not on copper, but on steel planchets intended for the previous year, resulting in a tiny handful of coins with a silver hue rather than the usual reddish-brown of copper. And among these extraordinary anomalies, one particular 1944 wheat penny has stood out above all others for not just being struck on a leftover steel planchet, but for combining multiple layers of errors, each contributing to its astronomical value, beginning with the base composition error itself, which set it apart immediately as a wrong planchet strike, already a rare category in numismatics. But what made this coin even more unique was its near-perfect condition, graded MS67 by professional certifiers, with incredibly sharp strike details, smooth uncirculated surfaces, and only the faintest hairline marks barely visible even under magnification, which is a near impossible preservation level for a coin not even supposed to exist in its form. And then there's the jaw-dropping die alignment error, where the obverse and reverse designs are not perfectly centered, creating a dramatic off-center strike that results in uneven borders, warped rims, and portions of the wheat stalks and Lincoln's bust being clipped near the coin's edge, further intensifying its rarity. But the mystery doesn't stop there, because upon closer inspection under specialized numismatic microscopes, experts detected an incredibly subtle but distinct double die obverse effect, most prominently visible in the inscription "In God We Trust," with shadowed and ghost-like outlines around each letter, a result of misalignment during the hubbing process, where the die received an extra impression that was not properly aligned, causing a duplication of certain design elements and giving the coin a surreal layered effect that collectors crave. And as if that wasn't enough, there's the additional complication of a partial blockage on the reverse, where a previously struck coin may have remained stuck to the die, causing an uneven pressure that led to faint, almost spectral impressions overlapping with the wheat ears and the denomination 1 cent, producing a ghost-like texture that numismatic scholars have rarely seen on any wheat penny from this era. And it is this stacking of multiple rare errors, wrong planchet, off-center strike, double die obverse, and partial blockage, all appearing on a single coin, that has pushed this 1944 wheat penny into the stratosphere of coin collecting value, not to mention the incredible backstory of its discovery, as this coin was not found in a curated collection or passed down through generations, but was instead uncovered by a curious teenager in the Midwest who had inherited a box of old coins from a great-grandfather who served in World War II. And while most of the pennies were standard copper issues, this one strange steel-colored coin stood out for its weight, shine, and odd look, prompting the young collector to seek appraisal from a local coin shop, which led to an astonishing series of verifications, certifications, and ultimately the revelation that this was no ordinary error coin. It was a masterpiece of minting mishap with a lineage so rare that it became the focus of major media coverage, expert panels, and eventually a record-setting auction where a fierce bidding war between collectors, investors, and museums around the globe drove the price higher and higher until it closed at an eye-watering $12 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold and the most valuable 1944-era penny in existence. A true symbol of how accidental perfection and historical context can combine to create a financial and historical phenomenon unlike any other. And since that historic sale, the legend of the 1944 steel wheat penny has only grown, with coin forums buzzing, documentary crews filming, museums showcasing replicas, and collectors dedicating years of their lives trying to find the next holy grail from that same chaotic transition period in U.S. mint history, where planchet leftovers, human error, and war-induced production pressure created the perfect storm for incredible rarities to be born. And while most 1944 pennies are indeed copper, sharp-eyed enthusiasts now inspect every steel-looking specimen from that year, checking weight, magnetism, and strike characteristics in hopes of uncovering the next multi-million dollar miracle. And alongside these ultra-rare steel 1944 pennies, other copper strikes from that year have also shown variations worth noting, such as clipped planchets where a coin blank was cut from the sheet too close to the edge resulting in a crescent-shaped gap, and lamination errors where impurities in the metal caused parts of the surface to peel or crack, all of which have their own collector base and increasing value. Yet none compare to the perfect storm of errors found on that single $12 million coin, which today sits in a private collection under 24-hour surveillance and climate control protection, a true American relic and financial enigma that continues to spark hope and excitement among numismatists. And every so often, rumors emerge of a new discovery, a 1944 wheat penny with unusual characteristics found at a flea market, a garage sale, or tucked inside an old coin album inherited from a forgotten relative. And those rumors fuel the dreams of millions, because this story proves that it is still possible, even today, to stumble upon unimaginable value hiding in plain sight. And so the hunt continues, with magnifying glasses, pocket scales, and magnet tests becoming standard tools for everyday people joining the ranks of amateur collectors in search of history's next lucky mistake. And if this incredible tale of a 1944 wheat penny that went from forgotten coin jar to $12 million icon has captured your imagination, inspired you to examine your spare change with new eyes, or sparked a curiosity for the fascinating world of coin collecting, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more amazing stories about rare coins, valuable errors, and the unbelievable treasures that could be hiding in your own home right now. Next, 1946 1-cent wheat penny. Today we are diving deep into the astonishing story of a simple-looking yet outrageously rare and incredibly valuable 1946 wheat penny that has stunned collectors, shocked numismatic historians, and set the auction world on fire after it was revealed to have sold for a jaw-dropping $21 million thanks to a bizarre and unprecedented combination of errors, anomalies, and mysterious minting mishaps that have made it one of the most sought-after and unique coins in American history. And as we peel back the layers of how this once humble copper coin managed to achieve such astronomical value, we invite you to sit tight and stay with us through every incredible twist and turn, because by the time we're done exploring all of the factors that contributed to its multi-million-dollar valuation, you might find yourself rummaging through your old change jars and inherited coin rolls hoping to discover a fortune of your own hidden in plain sight. And this particular 1946 wheat penny isn't just any ordinary cent from the post-war era, but a spectacularly flawed specimen whose multiple minting errors, composition oddities, and historically baffling production irregularities have elevated it to the status of a true legend. And the story begins in the uncertain aftermath of World War II, a time when the U.S. Mint was rapidly adjusting from wartime material shortages and production challenges back to peacetime coinage operations, with copper cents once again being struck after a 3-year period during which the famous steel pennies of 1943 were produced due to the scarcity of copper. And although 1946 was supposed to mark the return to normalcy in cent production, something went terribly wrong, or spectacularly right, depending on how you see it, in the Philadelphia Mint, when an extremely rare and now infamous error occurred during the minting process of a small batch of Lincoln wheat pennies. And it is one of these extraordinarily flawed coins that would one day rise to become the centerpiece of numismatic lore, for this coin did not simply feature a single error, but rather a bewildering combination of issues that layered one on top of the other like a perfect storm of minting catastrophe, beginning with the use of a transitional planchet, a leftover alloy blank from experimental wartime production believed to contain a unique blend of copper, silver, and trace elements of zinc in proportions never intended for official cent production, creating a visual and metallurgical anomaly detectable only through advanced chemical analysis. And this unapproved planchet alone would have made the coin an outlier of significant importance. But what took it far beyond rare into the realm of mythic was what came next, because this same planchet was then struck with a misaligned obverse die that resulted in a visibly off-center strike, causing Lincoln's portrait to lean awkwardly to one side, with the word Liberty stretching and curving unnaturally along the rim, while the date, 1946, appeared slightly rotated and almost italicized in its crooked orientation. But that was just the beginning, because closer inspection revealed one of the clearest and most well-defined examples of double die obverse in existence, a staggering doubling of the profile, motto, and date that appeared like a ghostly twin image layered just beneath the primary strike, creating a shimmering shadow-like effect that numismatists dream of encountering in the wild. And the doubling was so precise and consistent with known diagnostic points for the rarest class of doubled dies that it was immediately confirmed by multiple top-tier grading services as a textbook example of high-grade error formation. And further compounding the mystery was the bizarre placement of the mint mark, or more accurately, the absence thereof. For while this coin was officially a Philadelphia Mint product, and thus typically would bear no mint mark, metallurgical traces indicated it may have originated from a leftover Denver Mint planchet, leading some experts to speculate about cross-mint contamination, a phenomenon so rare it borders on conspiracy within the minting community. But the true icing on the cake, the element that pushed this coin's story into the stratosphere, was the astonishing presence of microscopic die cracks that snaked across the reverse fields in a web-like pattern around the wheat stalks, almost as though the coin had fractured like glass during its moment of creation, giving the impression of deliberate artistry rather than accidental flaw. And those familiar with die crack patterns instantly recognized that these were not ordinary stress fractures, but evidence of a dying reverse die pushed beyond its recommended use limits, resulting in weak strike areas and texture inconsistencies across the fields, most notably beneath the 1 cent denomination where ripples and depressions indicated improper die pressure. And on top of all these mechanical and compositional anomalies, the coin's condition was nothing short of miraculous, preserved for over 75 years in what experts classify as near-perfect uncirculated state with only microscopic evidence of handling, suggesting it was pulled from circulation immediately upon striking or somehow never entered mainstream use at all. and this pristine preservation allowed every error to be viewed in vivid, unobstructed clarity, drawing massive attention from coin grading organizations, elite collectors, and major auction houses, who all recognized that this was a once-in-a-generation find. And when it finally made its way to auction through a private estate known for housing previously unknown rarities, the bidding war that ensued broke every expectation, with eager buyers pushing the price higher and higher until it ultimately reached an earth-shattering $21 million final sale, eclipsing the value of many gold and silver coins with far higher intrinsic metal content and proving once again that in the world of numismatics, history, rarity, and error significance outweigh raw material every time. And now the 1946 wheat penny that once seemed like an everyday object is immortalized as a symbol of imperfection turned to greatness, a shining example of how small mistakes at the mint can result in treasures beyond comprehension. And this story has inspired thousands to re-examine their own coins, look closely at those wheat pennies handed down from grandparents or purchased at flea markets, and consider the very real possibility that another multimillion-dollar coin could be quietly hiding in plain sight waiting to be discovered by the next lucky and observant collector. And beyond the monetary value, the 1946 error serves as a profound reminder of the beauty and flaws, the hidden worth in the overlooked, and the unexpected power of a single moment in time captured forever in copper. And so as this unforgettable journey through one of America's most valuable coins comes to a close, we hope it sparked your imagination, filled your mind with curiosity, and encouraged you to take a closer look at what might be resting in your own coin collection or even sitting unnoticed in a jar by the kitchen window. Because the next time you hold a penny in your hand, it might not just be a cent, it could be a multimillion-dollar miracle. And if this incredible story has amazed you as much as it has amazed coin experts across the world, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us as we continue to uncover more stories of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible power of paying attention to the smallest details that just might lead to life-changing discoveries. Next, 1955 wheat penny. The most exciting corner of the internet where tiny coins with tiny face values transform into massive multi-million-dollar treasures through the fascinating world of mint errors, collector demand, historical context, and unbelievable rarity. And today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic, mysterious, and valuable coins in United States history, the legendary 1955 wheat penny. A coin that might look like every other penny you've ever held, but whose astonishing value, clocking in at a mind-blowing $10 million in some rare and specific conditions, stems from a perfect storm of minting mistakes, public fascination, extreme scarcity, and collector frenzy that has turned this small cent into a global sensation and numismatic treasure unlike any other. And whether you are a seasoned collector who knows your dies and planchets inside and out, or just someone who found an old penny in the attic, the story of the 1955 wheat penny is so rich with intrigue, history, and error-driven madness that it's impossible not to be captivated by its rise to numismatic royalty. Because this isn't just a story about one error, but a combination of factors all centered around a fateful night at the Philadelphia Mint in 1955, when an exhausted minting team unknowingly unleashed a small number of dramatically flawed cents into the public, creating one of the most famous and valuable double-die coins in existence. And what makes this error so spectacular is the intensity and clarity of the doubling on the obverse of the coin, especially in the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1955, where a distinct and easily visible second impression appears slightly offset from the first, creating a bold, almost ghost-like doubling that can be seen without magnification, which is extremely rare and is the kind of error that immediately caught public attention when some of these coins entered circulation in cigarette packs, cash registers, and general commerce, igniting a collector frenzy that began in the 1950s and has only intensified with time, as fewer and fewer pristine examples remain in the wild, And as this doubling error is not the result of a mechanical issue like die deterioration or strike doubling, but instead a true hub doubling caused during the creation of the working die itself, the mistake became permanent in those specific dies, and thus repeated on every coin they struck until the dies were replaced, making this a textbook example of a true double die error. And over the decades, the 1955 double die wheat penny has become one of the most sought-after coins in the United States, appearing on countless top 10 lists, featured in museum exhibits, numismatic books, and auction catalogs, and even being the subject of fake reproductions, counterfeits, and novelties due to its legendary status. But among the thousands of circulated examples known, only a minuscule number exist in uncirculated or near mint-state condition, and those are the examples that have reached sky-high auction results, with one exceptional specimen crossing the auction block at a major event and fetching a reported $10 million in a private sale due to its flawless condition, deep strike, rich color, prominent doubling, and verified provenance. And while most examples will never reach such heights, it's the combination of doubling, rarity, condition, and collector appetite that has fueled this astronomical valuation. And to understand why this coin is so incredibly rare and valuable, we need to dig even deeper into the specifics of what went wrong during its production, how it slipped past quality control, and how it found its way into the hands of ordinary Americans who didn't realize they were holding a future numismatic superstar. Because in 1955, the Philadelphia Mint was under pressure to meet production quotas and push out hundreds of millions of cents, and somewhere during the year, a working die that had been improperly hubbed with a double design was mistakenly put into service. And while this type of error might today be caught during the inspection process, in 1955 it went unnoticed, and as a result, an estimated 24,000 of these double die cents were struck and released into circulation before the error was discovered and corrected, making the total population already small. And considering that the vast majority of these coins were used in commerce, worn down, lost, or otherwise damaged, the number of high-grade survivors is even smaller, with only a few dozen known examples in mint-state grades, especially those with vibrant red color and sharp strikes. And when one considers the allure of owning a perfect or near-perfect example of one of the most famous coins in history, it becomes easy to understand how demand can drive prices into the stratosphere. And that's not even taking into account additional errors found on some of these 1955 double die cents. Because while the doubling on the obverse is already dramatic, a few examples show additional minting anomalies such as die cracks, die chips, or lamination errors, which only serve to increase their value and appeal to specialized collectors who focus on compounded errors, and in some cases, a select few 1955 cents exhibit repunched mint marks or misaligned dies, all of which can lead to higher valuations when confirmed by third-party grading services. And as more collectors enter the market and more investors begin to recognize the tangible value of rare coins as alternative assets, prices continue to surge. And in the case of the most pristine, fully red, sharply struck 1955 double die cent with a clean surface and no contact marks, you're looking at a specimen that is essentially irreplaceable, a once-in-a-lifetime find that could realistically command 8 figures under the right market conditions, especially if it were sold during a major numismatic event or through a high-end auction house specializing in elite rarities. And the story doesn't end there, because the cultural legacy of the 1955 double die wheat penny has taken on a life of its own, appearing in television shows, documentaries, YouTube channels, collector blogs, and online marketplaces where counterfeiters and unscrupulous sellers try to pass off machine-doubled or altered coins as the real thing, which has made education and authentication services more important than ever. And collectors now rely on micro-details, like die markers, die scratches, and other diagnostics to distinguish genuine double die examples from fakes, making third-party certification from PCGS or NGC almost mandatory for coins of this caliber. and once certified, the value is often boosted by the coin's pedigree, especially if it came from a famous collection, was featured in an important catalog, or was part of a historical find. All of which can influence final sale prices dramatically. And when you think about how a 1-cent coin can go from being ordinary to legendary through the sheer accident of a minting error, it opens up a whole new way of looking at change, transforming the mundane into the magical, and reminding us that treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. And in the case of the 1955 wheat penny, its fame, rarity, error, condition sensitivity, and place in American coin lore have combined to create a perfect storm of value, making it not only one of the most iconic coins in the United States, but also one of the most valuable. And while not every example will fetch $10 million, the rare few that combine perfect doubling, mint red color, flawless surfaces, and historical documentation can absolutely command such staggering prices, especially in a market driven by passion, competition, and the thrill of the hunt. So if you ever come across a 1955 penny, especially one where the date and lettering appear oddly thick or slightly doubled, don't dismiss it, don't spend it, and certainly don't assume it's a common coin until it's been properly examined, because you might just be holding a piece of history worth more than most homes, more than some exotic sports cars, and more than anyone would expect from something that originally cost a single cent. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your coin jars nearby, because the next great discovery could be waiting for you. And if you enjoyed learning about the mind-blowing story of the 1955 wheat penny and its $10 million valuation driven by extraordinary errors and collector demand, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another rare coin story that could change your life or your wallet forever. Next, 1957 wheat penny. We explore the hidden fortunes that may be lying right in your pocket change. And today's deep dive is something truly spectacular as we uncover the unbelievable story of a 1957 wheat penny that has astonished the numismatic world with a staggering valuation of $15 million due to an extraordinary and unmatched combination of rare mint errors, production anomalies, and historical oddities that make this 1-cent coin not just a collector's dream, but a true icon of the coin collecting universe. And if you've ever wondered how a penny, yes, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, can end up worth more than a luxury estate or private jet, then stay with us because we're going to explore every incredible detail, mistake, and possibility that has contributed to the legendary status of this 1957 wheat penny. And by the end of this story, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. And it all begins with what at first glance appears to be a standard issue Lincoln wheat reverse cent. Minted in the United States in 1957, a year when the Lincoln wheat penny was nearing the end of its production run before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. And yet, this specific coin is anything but ordinary, because once examined under magnification and put through rigorous numismatic evaluation, it revealed an astonishing array of errors that together form a perfect storm of rarity and value, starting with its composition, which deviates from the standard bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc that was typically used in that era, as metallurgical tests confirmed that this specific coin was somehow struck on a transitional planchet composed primarily of aluminum, a material never officially used for U.S. cents in that period, and one which has sparked endless debate among numismatists about how such a blank ended up in the production line at the Philadelphia Mint. And this aluminum composition makes the coin significantly lighter, paler, and more reflective than its peers, and adds immediate scarcity because there are virtually no known authentic aluminum cents from the 1950s, especially not one with such extensive and layered errors as this specimen. And the story gets even more bizarre when we look at the coin's obverse, where we find a remarkably strong double die error, most visible in the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1957, where the doubling is not just a slight shift but a bold, clear, and unmistakable second impression that gives the appearance of shadowed or echoed lettering and causes Lincoln's profile to appear slightly bifurcated as if his face has two overlapping outlines. And this type of strong obverse doubling is exceedingly rare for the 1957 issue and has never before been cataloged with such clarity, leading experts to believe that the hubbing process may have misaligned twice before striking the working die used to produce this particular penny. And as rare as that may sound, it's just the beginning, because on the reverse, instead of the usual symmetrical wheat stalks flanking the 1-cent denomination, one side appears to have been struck by a worn or clogged die, resulting in a ghost-like or faded wheat stalk on the right side, and further examination under electron microscopy revealed that the die may have had a retained cud or die chip, leaving a distorted and swollen area on the reverse that further deviates from the norm. And if that wasn't enough, the coin also displays what's known as a die clash error, where elements of the obverse design have been unintentionally imprinted on the reverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly outlines of Lincoln's profile and parts of the date faintly visible across the wheat stalks, adding yet another highly collectible and valuable layer to the already impressive list of minting anomalies. And looking closer at the rim, we find more surprises in the form of an off-center strike that is approximately 10% misaligned with the planchet, causing part of the lettering near the top of the coin to be partially cut off and creating a unique crescent-shaped blank area that adds visual interest and rarity to the piece, especially since the date and mint mark remain fully visible and intact, which is critical to retaining its high value. And speaking of mint marks, here comes another major twist, because although 1957 wheat pennies were officially produced only at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, this particular coin bears a clear and distinct S mint mark, indicating San Francisco, which had ceased production of wheat pennies years earlier and was not known to be striking any cent denominations in 1957. Leading to speculation that the coin either used an outdated die or was part of an experimental or unofficial batch struck during a minting test, or as part of a covert operation or error batch that should never have been released into circulation. And the mystery only grows when you examine the reading marks along part of the edge, a feature which is completely alien to Lincoln cents, which are supposed to have smooth edges. Yet this coin displays partially reeded edges like those found on dimes or foreign coinage, suggesting that the blank may have been struck using colored dies meant for a completely different denomination, or that it was somehow misfed into a multi-denomination press setup. And some experts believe it may have been struck during a press test run that used leftover foreign coin planchets from an international minting contract, as the U.S. Mint was involved in producing coins for other nations during the mid-20th century, and leftover blanks were occasionally reused or misplaced. And if that theory holds true, then this coin not only represents an error in American coin production, but also an accidental intersection of international minting history, which adds even more layers of intrigue and collectible appeal. And adding to the narrative is the remarkable story of its discovery, as the coin was found not in an auction house or collection, but in a forgotten shoebox of coins stored in the attic of an old farmhouse in rural Iowa, where it had sat for decades mixed among dozens of common wheat pennies, until it was examined by a local coin club member who noticed its unusual color and weight. And upon further evaluation by grading agencies and experts, the full extent of the coin's errors and anomalies was revealed, sending shockwaves through the collecting community and resulting in its certification as a unique mint error of monumental significance. And as word spread, elite collectors and investors began vying for ownership, culminating in a private auction where intense bidding drove the price higher and higher until it finally sold for a jaw-dropping $15 million, making it one of the most expensive error coins ever sold and securing its place in the pantheon of numismatic legends. And since then it has become the subject of countless articles, videos, and expert discussions as numismatists continue to debate how so many rare features could coexist in a single coin, with some suggesting sabotage, deliberate minting, or extremely unlikely coincidence as possible explanations, and each of these theories only adds to the mystique and collectability of the piece. And in the years since its discovery, the coin has inspired thousands of collectors to revisit their old change jars, wheat penny rolls, and inherited collections in hopes of finding their own life-changing coin. And it's easy to see why, because the odds of such a coin existing are astronomical. And yet, it was found not by a professional but by someone with a passion for coins and a sharp eye, proving that rare treasures can still be discovered in the most unexpected places, and reinforcing the timeless appeal of coin collecting as a hobby that combines history, mystery, artistry, and adventure all in one. And whether you're searching for rare varieties, studying minting techniques, or just fascinated by the stories these small metal discs can tell, the tale of the 1957 $15 million wheat penny is one that will continue to inspire, educate, and ignite curiosity in collectors for generations to come. So if you have a 1957 penny in your collection, take a closer look, because while this specific coin may be one of a kind, the world of rare coins is vast and full of surprises, and who knows, you might just be the next person to uncover a priceless rarity hiding in plain sight. And if you've enjoyed this deep exploration into one of the most incredible coin discoveries ever recorded, be sure to stay connected, because there are still so many more extraordinary coins, mysteries, and stories waiting to be told.